American homeowners spend $400 to $600 every single year on feeder seed, while 20 native plants costing $150 total sit ignored in every nursery's back section. Not because you made the wrong choice, because nobody ever showed you the 20 plants that turn a quiet June yard into a nesting ground for 20 of summer's most breathtaking birds. These 20 plants deliver goldfinches, orioles, hummingbirds, and waxwings from July through November. And the one at number 19, that is the one the nursery industry has been quietly hoping you never figure out. Somewhere in this video is the story of a retired grandfather in Ohio who planted all 20 in one June week and documented 3 breathtaking bird species in a single morning. Before plant number 1, drop your state in the comments right now. Plant number 1, trumpet vine. Campsis radicans is the only plant in this entire video that attracts both Baltimore Orioles and Ruby-throated Hummingbirds to the exact same bloom cluster at the exact same time. Documented dual, bird use confirmed across the eastern USA range by Audubon Society field records. Zones 4 through 9 Northeast, Mid-Atlantic South, Midwest, cost is $8 to $15. Plant in June and roots established through summer. First blooms arrive the following July on a well-rooted vine. The ruby-throated hummingbird inserts its bill into trumpet vine's orange, red tubular flowers. Precisely, the bloom diameter matches hummingbird bill width more closely than almost any other vine in cultivation. Train on a sturdy fence or pergola from day one. The single most common mistake is planting trumpet vine against a wood structure. It will damage within 3 seasons through aggressive root and stem expansion. Plant on metal or masonry support only. Wood structures will not survive this vine past year 3. But nature did not end with one answer. Plant number 2 attracts something entirely different, and most backyards are missing it completely. Plant number 2, Anise hyssop. Agastache foeniculum blooms from July through September and produces nectar at a volume that keeps ruby-throated hummingbirds, American goldfinches, and house finches returning to the same patch daily. A documented multi-species nectar and seed plant that costs $4 to $9 and performs in zones 4 through 9 across the Northeast, Midwest, and Pacific Northwest. The ruby-throated hummingbird visits Anise hyssop's vertical lavender flower spikes up to 40 times per day per plant during peak bloom. Audubon Society field observation confirms this feeding rate during July nesting season. Goldfinches arrive later in summer as seed heads develop and feed methodically through September. Plant in well, drain soil in full sun. The most common mistake is planting in clay-heavy soil, which causes root rot before the plant reaches its first bloom and eliminates the entire summer bird benefit. Deadhead lightly through July to extend bloom, but leave final seed heads standing for goldfinch feeding through September. And plant number 3 takes everything one step further. A plant so overlooked that most American nurseries stopped stocking it 20 years ago. Plant number 3, elderberry. A single Sambucus canadensis planted in June will reach 6 feet by September and produce its first berry clusters by late summer. And the moment those berries ripen, Baltimore Orioles, gray catbirds, American robins, and scarlet tanagers arrive within the same week. Zones 3 through 9, all regions. Cost is $12 to $28 depending on size. The Baltimore Oriole uses elderberry simultaneously for food and actively harvests nearby milkweed fiber to weave its hanging nest 2 functions from plants within the same garden, documented by Cornell Lab field research. Oriole pairs in June are feeding protein, hungry nestlings all day. Elderberry's insect load on its leaves and flowers feeds those nestlings as much as the berries do. Honest limitation, elderberry spreads by root suckers and needs a 3-foot clear zone on all sides, or it will colonize neighboring beds within 2 seasons. If you are watching and not yet subscribed, YouTube will stop showing you this content entirely. Not slow it down. Stop. This channel releases bird and garden wisdom every week. Hit subscribe now, it is always free. Plant number 4, zinnia. Direct sow, Zinnia elegans, seed into any garden bed in June, and house finches, American goldfinches, and ruby-throated hummingbirds will all be using the same plant for completely different reasons by August, making it the only $2 investment in this entire video that delivers 3 bird species at once. All continental USA zones. Annuals need no zone calculation. Blooms arrive in 8 weeks from seed. Cost is $2 to $4 per seed packet. House finches specifically target zinnia seed heads in late summer, documented flock feeding behavior where multiple birds strip seeds from a single flower head simultaneously before moving to the next. Hummingbirds work the nectar of the same blooms the finches seed, feed on 2 bird behaviors on one plant in the same afternoon. Sow seeds no deeper than 1/4 inch. The most common mistake is burying zinnia seed too deep, which delays germination by 2 full weeks. Sow a full row and leave spent heads standing. Finches will feed through September on 0 budget. Did you know zinnias attracted this many bird species? Be completely honest in the comments. Plant number 5, milkweed. Most Americans think milkweed is only for monarch butterflies, but Asclepias tuberosa planted in June creates an insect population by August that eastern bluebirds, Baltimore Orioles, and yellow warblers all depend on to feed their nestlings through the peak of summer. Zones 3 through 9, South, Midwest, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic cost is $5 to $10 per plant. The Baltimore Oriole harvests milkweed stem fiber, specifically to weave the hanging pendulous nest it builds every June. Cornell Lab documents this fiber selection as intentional and consistent across the species range. Eastern bluebird parents in June make up to 200 food delivery trips per day to nestlings. The insect population on milkweed supports that feeding demand directly. Plant in full sun. Milkweed in shade produces 50% fewer blooms and attracts significantly fewer insects, reducing its bird value entirely. Full sun is non-negotiable. Shade cuts this plant's bird value in half by midsummer. But this yard did not stop at one solution. Plant number 6 does something milkweed never will, and most American gardeners walk past it every single season. Plant number 6, cardinal flower. Cornell Lab formally documents Lobelia cardinalis as the single highest-rated hummingbird nectar plant in the entire eastern United States. Yet most American garden centers stock it in quantities that sell out in 3 days and never reorder. Zones 3 through 9, Gulf Coast, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Midwest, transplant in June, and blooms arrive July through September. Cost is $5 to $8 per plant. The ruby-throated hummingbird's bill length matches the cardinal flower tube so precisely that the bird is the plant's primary pollinator, a documented coevolutionary relationship confirmed by Audubon Society research. Male hummingbirds in peak June nesting territory will defend a single cardinal flower patch aggressively against all other nectar visitors. Plant in full sun to part shade with consistent moisture. The single most common mistake is planting in dry soil, which collapses bloom production within 2 weeks. Water cardinal flower weekly through July. Dry soil is the only thing that stops it. Have you ever grown this plant or seen a hummingbird this close in your yard? Drop it below. I read every comment. Plant number 7, purple coneflower. Most gardeners buy coneflower for color and completely miss the fact that American goldfinches will land on the seed heads every single morning from August through October without a feeder in sight. Echinacea purpurea grows in zones 3 through 9, Northeast, Midwest, South, Pacific Northwest, and costs $4 to $8 per plant at any nursery in June. Cornell Lab documents goldfinches deliberately timing their nesting cycle to match coneflower seed ripening in July, one of the most precise bird-plant relationships in the American garden. Goldfinches grip the seed head with both feet and extract seeds methodically, returning to the same plant daily until every seed is gone. The most common mistake is cutting seed heads down in fall. Leave every head standing through October, and your goldfinch visits will double. Leave those seed heads standing. One plant feeds a goldfinch flock for 6 straight weeks at 0 cost after purchase. But nature did not end with one answer. Plant number 8 attracts something entirely different. and most backyards are missing it completely. Plant number 8. Wild strawberry. Fragaria virginiana spreads as ground cover through summer and produces fruit that American robins, gray catbirds, and eastern towhees feed on directly at ground level, making it the only plant in this video that works entirely below knee height and still delivers 3 confirmed bird species. Zones 3 through 9, all regions cost is $3 to $7 per plant. American robins in June are raising their second brood and fruit consumption increases sharply as wild strawberry ripens. Cornell Lab documents, robin fruit. Feeding behavior peaking in June and July precisely when this plant produces. If you are in your 50s or 60s and have open ground under a garden tree doing nothing, this is the plant that turns that space into a productive bird habitat with zero maintenance after the first season. Plant in part shade under trees. Full sun causes fruit to dry before birds can access it in hot southern zones. Let it spread freely under trees. It colonizes bare ground and feeds birds with zero input after year 1. Tell me your state in the comments below. Your growing zone changes everything about which of these performs best in your yard. Plant number 9, switchgrass. Panicum virgatum is a native grass that most American gardeners overlook entirely, yet song sparrows and chipping sparrows use it simultaneously for food, nesting material, and shelter, making it one of the most productive single plants per square foot in any June-planted bird garden. Zones 5 through 9, Midwest, South, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast cost is $6 to $10. Song sparrows raise 3 to 4 broods per year, and June is peak breeding season. They harvest switchgrass seed and strip stem fibers for nest construction in the same visit, documented by Cornell Lab as a consistent dual-use behavior. Fast establishing from a June planting, seed heads are ready by September. Plant in full sun with no supplemental fertilizer. The most common mistake is fertilizing native grasses, which produces excessive leaf growth at the direct expense of the seed head production birds depend on. Never fertilize native grasses. Zero nitrogen keeps seed production high and birds coming back all fall. But this yard did not stop at one solution. Plant number 10 does something switchgrass never will, and most American gardeners walk past it every single season. Plant number 10, Joe Pye weed. Eutrochium purpureum grows to 7 feet and becomes a towering insect magnet by August that scarlet tanagers, nesting orioles, red-eyed vireos, and yellow warblers all forage through simultaneously, a plant so productive for insect-dependent birds that the USDA lists it among the top native perennials for wildlife support in eastern landscapes. Zones 4 through 9, Northeast, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic South cost is $6 to $10. The scarlet tanager forages Joe Pye weed's upper canopy for caterpillars during June nesting season. Cornell Lab documents this foraging behavior as consistent across the species' eastern breeding range. Transplant in June and blooms arrive in August with minimal care. The most common mistake is planting Joe Pye weed in dry soil. It requires consistent moisture and will drop its insect, attracting bloom quality significantly in drought conditions without weekly watering. Water weekly through August. Moisture is what keeps this plant's insect load high enough to matter. Have you ever grown this plant or seen a scarlet tanager in your yard? Drop it below. I read every comment. Plant number 11, red bee balm. Monarda didyma is one of the peak nectar producers in the American garden. Tubular red flowers shaped precisely for hummingbird bills, and its dense insect activity through July and August makes it a primary foraging site for nesting gray catbirds that most gardeners never even realize are visiting their yard. Zones 4 through 9, Northeast, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, Pacific Northwest. Cost is $5 to $9. The gray catbird forages insect populations at the base and mid-stem of bee balm continuously during June nesting. Cornell Lab field data confirms catbirds as one of the most insect-dependent nesters in the Eastern American garden. Fast establishing perennial from June planting. Blooms arrive July through August in the first season. Plant in full sun with good air circulation. The most common mistake is crowding bee balm, which causes powdery mildew and collapses both bloom production and the insect activity birds depend on. Space plants 18 inches apart minimum. Airflow stops mildew and keeps blooms producing all August. But nature did not end with one answer. Plant number 12 attracts something entirely different, and most backyards are missing it completely. Plant number 12. Cup plant. Silphium perfoliatum is a structural native perennial whose paired leaves form natural cups at every stem junction, and those cups collect rainwater that downy woodpeckers, American robins, and song sparrows drink from daily, making it the only plant in this video that functions as a built-in bird bath without any homeowner effort. Zones 3 through 9, all regions. Cost is $5 to $10. Cornell Lab documents downy woodpeckers using cup plant leaf reservoirs as a consistent water source in gardens without traditional bird baths, a behavior confirmed across multiple eastern states during summer drought periods. Goldfinch seed feeding on cup plant heads begins in September and continues through November. Plant in full sun with room to reach 8 feet. The most common mistake is planting cup plant near a path or small bed, where its height becomes a problem by late summer with no easy solution. Give it a back border position. 8 feet of height needs space behind shorter plants, and plant number 13 takes everything one step further. A plant so overlooked that most American nurseries stopped stocking it 20 years ago. Plant number 13, coral honeysuckle. This is the plant I mentioned at the very beginning. Lonicera sempervirens blooms from spring through frost with zero invasive risk, unlike its Japanese cousin, and delivers ruby-throated hummingbirds and nesting yellow warblers to the same vine structure simultaneously, making it one of the most productive dual bird plants available at any American nursery for $7 to $14. Zones 4 through 9, all regions, including Gulf Coast and Pacific Northwest. The yellow warbler uses coral honeysuckle vine structure as active nesting support. Cornell Lab documents this species nesting in dense vine tangles 3 to 8 feet high during June breeding season, returning to the same vine location year after year. Hummingbirds work the tubular red-orange blooms from first light. Train on a trellis from planting day. Structure established in year 1 means blooms from ground to top by year 2. Tell me your state in the comments below. Your growing zone changes everything about which of these performs best in your yard. A retired grandfather in Zone 6, Ohio, planted all 20 of these plants in the first week of June, not as an experiment, but because he had spent 3 summers maintaining 2 hummingbird feeders at $12 per week and counting fewer than 4 bird species visiting his yard all season. By the 3rd week of July, cardinal flowers were drawing ruby-throated hummingbirds every morning before 8. By August 3rd, he documented a Baltimore Oriole family at the elderberry, a gray catbird working the bee balm border, and a cedar waxwing flock of 22 birds in the serviceberry. All in one morning, he submitted the sighting to Cornell Lab eBird that same day. What he did not know in May was what Cornell Lab research confirms: native plant yards attract 40% more bird species than feeder-only yards on average. His $160 June investment replaced $600 in annual feeder costs and delivered more birds in one morning than 3 summers of feeders combined. Plant number 14, black oil sunflower. Direct sow Helianthus annuus seed in June, and northern cardinals, American goldfinches, black-capped chickadees, and tufted titmus will all be feeding on the same seed heads by August. The fastest multi-species bird return of any plant in this entire video for $2 to $4 per packet. Annual, all continental USA zones. No zone restriction applies. The northern cardinal in June is feeding a second brood of fledglings, and black oil sunflower seed heads provide the high-fat, high-protein seed that both parents and young birds consume through August and September. Documented by Cornell Lab as a preferred native seed source over commercial feeder mixes. Sow seeds 1 inch deep in full sun directly in garden soil. The most common mistake is starting sunflowers in containers indoors. which produces weak root systems that cannot support the stem weight when seed heads develop at full size. Direct sow only. Container-started sunflowers never match the root strength of direct-seeded plants. But this yard did not stop at one solution. Plant number 15 does something sunflower never will, and most American gardeners walk past it every single season. Plant number 15, wild bergamot Monarda fistulosa, is the drought-tolerant cousin of red bee balm, and where bee balm demands moisture. Wild bergamot thrives in dry Midwest and southern conditions that would collapse most nectar plants, making it the most reliable hummingbird and house wren insect plant for gardeners in zones 3 through 9 in drier regions. Cost is $4 to $8. House wrens forage the dense insect populations at wild bergamot stem base and mid-plant level during June nesting. Cornell Lab documents wrens singing up to 600 songs per hour from nearby perches, while returning constantly to insect-rich native plants between foraging runs. Blooms arrive July through August, from a June planting with no supplemental water once established. The most common mistake is overwatering wild bergamot after establishment. Once roots are set in 6 weeks, additional irrigation causes root rot and eliminates the plant's natural drought advantage entirely. Stop watering after 6 weeks. Established wild bergamot in dry soil outperforms watered plants every season. But nature did not end with one answer. Plant number 16 attracts something entirely different, and most backyards are missing it completely. Plant number 16, ironweed Vernonia noveboracensis, produces bold purple blooms in late summer that American goldfinches flock, feed on through October, and ruby-throated hummingbirds visit the same blooms for nectar in August, making it one of the few plants in this video that serves a seed, feeding bird, and a nectar feeding bird at the exact same time. Zones 5 through 9, Northeast, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic South. Cost is $5 to $9. Indigo buntings in post-breeding season feed heavily on ironweed seed heads. Cornell Lab documents ironweed as a consistent late summer food source for indigo buntings preparing for fall migration along the eastern USA corridor. Plant in full sun with average to moist soil from a June start. Blooms arrive August through September. The most common mistake is cutting ironweed down after bloom. Every seed head left standing feeds goldfinch flocks through October at zero additional cost after the initial $5 to $9 purchase. Plant in part shade. Full sun causes premature seed set and eliminates the caterpillar habitat value entirely. Plant number 17, penstemon. Penstemon digitalis produces tubular blooms that open within 4 weeks of a June planting, making it the fastest blooming hummingbird plant in this entire video and the single most reliable choice for American gardeners who want ruby-throated hummingbird visits before July ends. Zones 3 through 9, Northeast, Midwest, South, Mid-Atlantic. Cost is $5 to $10. The ruby-throated hummingbird inserts its bill into penstemon's white tubular blooms at a precise angle that transfers pollen. Audubon Society documents this as one of the most efficient hummingbird pollination relationships among eastern native perennials. Blooms continue through late July, giving gardeners a reliable early summer nectar bridge before cardinal flower and bee balm reach peak production. Plant in well-drained soil in full sun. The most common mistake is planting penstemon in wet or clay soil, which causes crown rot before the plant reaches its second bloom week. Well-drained soil is non-negotiable. One season in wet clay ends this plant before it blooms a second time, and plant number 18 takes everything one step further. A plant so overlooked that most American nurseries stopped stocking it 20 years ago. Plant number 18, native columbine. Aquilegia canadensis, transplanted in June, establishes through summer and supports caterpillar populations right now in June that feed nestling black-capped chickadees, red-eyed vireos, and yellow warblers through the entire peak of nesting season, making it one of the most quietly productive bird support plants in any American garden for $5 to $9. Zones 3 through 8, Northeast, Midwest, Pacific Northwest. Mid-Atlantic. Black-capped chickadee families emerging from nest boxes in June follow parent birds to native columbine's caterpillar populations. Cornell Lab documents this foraging guidance behavior as a critical post-fledging survival skill taught by parents in the first 2 weeks after nest box departure. If you are in your 50s or 60s and want to support birds beyond just feeders, this is the plant that feeds nestlings you never even see. Plant in part shade. Full sun causes premature seed set and eliminates the caterpillar habitat value entirely. Part shade is essential. Full sun collapses caterpillar habitat and removes the entire nesting season bird benefit. But this yard did not stop at one solution. Plant number 19 does something columbine never will, and most American gardeners walk past it every single season. Plant number 19, serviceberry Amelanchier canadensis, planted in June, establishes through summer and provides nesting branch structure immediately. Cedar Waxwings and eastern bluebirds begin using the branch architecture for perching and shelter in the first season, with berry feeding beginning in year 2, when the plant matures. Zones 3 through 9, all regions. Cost is $15 to $40, depending on size. The cedar waxwing is one of the latest nesters in the United States, deliberately delaying breeding until summer fruits ripen. And the moment serviceberry berries mature, waxwing flocks of 10 to 40 birds arrive within the same week and feed in coordinated groups, passing berries beak to beak along a perched line, a behavior documented by Cornell Lab as unique among North American songbirds. This is a long-term investment, not a summer bloomer, but the branch structure alone delivers bird activity from day one of planting. Plant the largest size your budget allows. A $43-gallon serviceberry delivers bird activity 2 years ahead of a $15 1-gallon. Have you ever seen a cedar waxwing flock in your yard? Drop it below. I read every comment. Plant number 20, purple lovegrass. Eragrostis spectabilis is a low native grass that produces airy purple seed clouds by August, and eastern towhees, song sparrows, and chipping sparrows all feed on ground, drop seeds through fall, making it the most productive ground level bird feeding plant in this entire video for $4 to $8. Zones 5 through 9, Midwest, South, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast. The eastern towhee uses its signature double scratch foraging technique beneath purple lovegrass, kicking leaf litter back with both feet simultaneously to expose fallen seeds. Cornell Lab documents this behavior as the species' primary foraging strategy in native grass plantings through September and October. Fast establishing from a June planting, purple seed clouds appear by August with no additional input. Plant in full sun in well-drained soil. The most common mistake is planting purple lovegrass in rich amended soil, which produces excessive leaf growth at the complete expense of seed head development. Poor dry soil produces the best seed heads. Never amend the planting hole for this grass. But nature did not end with one answer. And what comes next is the expert knowledge most gardeners never find in one place. We are not done yet, because 3 things about June bird gardening belong in every yard decision, and almost no channel ever puts them in one place. First, Cornell Lab research confirms that yards with 5 or more native plant species attract 40% more bird species than single plant or feeder. Only yards, meaning every plant you added today, compounds the bird activity of every other plant in the same garden. Second, the ruby-throated hummingbird visits nectar flowers up to 2,000 times per day during June nesting peak. A single yard with cardinal flower, penstemon, bee balm, and coral honeysuckle in bloom simultaneously can hold a territorial male on your property from sunrise to sunset. Third, cedar waxwings do not respond to feeders under any condition. Serviceberry and elderberry are the only reliable triggers for flock visits, which means most American gardeners will never see a waxwing flock unless they plant one of these 2. Gardeners working with $50 to $80 budgets should prioritize cardinal flower, zinnia seed, and 1 elderberry. That combination delivers hummingbirds goldfinches, and orioles in the first summer. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, nature-referenced bird and garden wisdom that most channels never put in one place. Here is the single clearest action path for every American gardener watching this in June. If you can plant only 5 this week, choose cardinal flower, purple coneflower, elderberry zinnia seed, and switchgrass. That combination covers hummingbirds, goldfinches, orioles, sparrows, and finches with the lowest combined cost of any 5-plant set in this video. Mark every perennial you plant this June with a weatherproof stake. Next spring, you will need to identify what returned and what did not, and unmarked plants disappear under spring growth before you can assess them. In zones 3 through 5, get every perennial in the ground before the end of June. The establishment window closes fast, and a late-planted perennial may not root deeply enough to survive the first winter. If your budget is under $40 total, buy zinnia seed, cardinal flower seed, and 1 elderberry cutting. These 3 deliver the highest bird return per dollar of any combination in this video. The honest conclusion is this: 20 plants is the goal, but 5 planted in June this week beats 20 planned for next spring. Every bird in this video is in an American backyard right now, nesting, feeding young, and looking for exactly the plants we covered today. The window is June. The cost is $150 for all 20. The return is hummingbirds, orioles, waxwings, tanagers, and 20 species of summer birds from July through November, every single year after the first planting, at 0 recurring cost. Subscribe to Backyard Birds and Blooms. Every week we put bird and garden knowledge in your hands that most gardeners spend entire seasons learning the hard way. The birds already know which plants they need. Now you do too.